Hi there, this is Nick Dolgy again. In this video I would like to elaborate on the points that I made in my last video, particularly the connections and the similarities between organized religion and communism as it was in the USSR. I'm talking about the former Soviet Union because that's the country I grew up in. That's the country I saw, and that's the country I can talk about. And I've also some background in what was there before I was born. So my point is that the advocates of organized religion, and the Christians in particular, should not be talking about Stalin, about USSR communist society as demonstration of how atheism is evil. And I think this just because actually to my opinion that I've had for several years already, what was created in the Soviet Union was not an anti-religion thing. It was something similar to a new religion, and the authorities wanted to replace the former religion with a new one. And in this video I would like to give you several examples why I think so. Everybody probably knows about witch hunts which took place in medieval ages, when Catholic Church just engaged in catching some people, condemning them for doing some presumably bad things, and killing them without proper judgment and without proper ability to defend themselves in a court or something. You will probably be surprised, or maybe not, but this was exactly what was practiced in the communist societies in the Soviet Union. They were not witches, they were enemies of people. Anybody could be condemned. It was enough just for some neighbor to call and say this guy is anti I wanted to say antichrist or anti-religion, but it was anti-communist, and it was enough just to catch a person and to kill him, or to send him to prison or to concentration camp for the rest of his life. So for me it looks very similar what happened earlier in the history with the Catholic Church and what was happening in the Soviet state. Then the state, in the same way as the church, thought it was eligible to talk to scientists, to philosophers, and to make them think what the state thought was appropriate. The state was imposing on the scientists what was right and what was wrong. You all probably know that the church was against the scientists, like the most prominent example is Giordano Bruno. He was condemned and finally burned on fire just because he was advocating a worldview that was different from the church's view. And I'm sure there are so many more examples like that. And that was exactly how the Soviet Union state worked. I can give you an example of genetics. The Soviet Union government thought that genetics was fake, that it wasn't a proper science. There was an alternative science which turned out to be a pseudoscience. And the real scientists, like Nikolai Vavilov, suffered. They were sent to jails. They were sentenced. They had trials, and Nikolai Vavilov famously quoted, is now famously quoted. He said, "We will go to fires, we will burn, but we will not change our scientific views because they are correct." Can you imagine that? He mentioned Giordano Bruno. So you can see that the situation with the science is quite similar. And you might also be curious why the atheistic state was so much against the genetics. Genetics is a science which confirms evolution. Genetics is a science which is pretty much pro-atheistic. And I'm sure the answer is that the Soviet society was not an officially atheistic. It wasn't an officially scientific society. It was just a crazy society which had things pretty much similar to what was a very prominent feature also of the religion. And as I said before, there were blind faith, obligation to worship the idols. You may be surprised to know, but you were required in the Soviet Union to go to some demonstrations and to show your like now you go to church, then you had to go to demonstrations, then you had to go out and show your support to the Communist Party. If you didn't go there, you would be blamed, and people would look at you like, what are you doing? And you would probably have some talks with the KGB guys. It was not as bad at later times, but with Stalin it was the way it worked, and it's also can be compared to what was the case with the Catholic Church. And one of the most anti-scientific approaches, one of the most anti-skeptic approaches was a complete ban of the pluralism of opinions. That was one of the prominent features of the Soviet society, and that's one of the basic principles of the religion. In the religion, my understanding is that you're not supposed to have plural opinions. You should not use your mind. You should not question anything. You should believe and trust what is given to you from some authority. And you are required to believe that this is given to you from some higher being who is somewhere not in nature, but in reality this is given to you by people who are dressed, who wear some gold, who wear some weird dresses, and who decide which parts of which types and versions of gospel to consider official and which are not official, and which are from Judas or from devil, from something like that. In reality, they are people. They are people, and they were people, and they have always been people who wanted, who had their own agendas, who wanted to have influence over other people. And that's just the way that world works. So that's my opinion on this issue. I will share some more thoughts with you in the future. If you like my video, please make thumbs up, subscribe, type your comments, questions below, and I will be glad to answer them. Bye.